Late August, we visited Gannan, a Tibetan autonomous prefecture in Gansu province. We flew to Lanzhou. It takes roughly 3 hours from Beijing, Shanghai, or Hong Kong to reach. Alternatively, you can also drive from another famous ancient capital, Xi'an, which takes about 9 hours. Gannan's terrain is complex and varied, which makes it a great travel destination. It is an extension of the Qinghai Tibet Plateau, making the area home to one of the world's highest grasslands. Additionally, Gannan features mountainous landscapes due to its location at the junction of the Qinling and Kunlun mountain ranges. Moreover, just 150 kilometers from Gannan in Lanzhou lies China's mother river, the Yellow River. On this journey, we witnessed towering mountains, traversed through canyons, rode horses across grasslands, and saw the magnificent sights formed by the Yellow River. For this trip, we drove a rented electrical car covering about 630 miles with 4 charging stops. The expenses for this trip will be detailed at the end of the video. Now, let's dive into the detailed rundown of our trip. Never say you don't eat lamb without eating them in northwestern region in China. Our first stop is qi shi shou zhua. Shou zhua means grab by hand. The lamb is boiled in plain water and then seasoned. And of course, despite the name, you don't have to use your hands. We also ordered stirred fried flat noodles. It was very flavorful. In restaurants around Lanzhou, you will usually find some loose tea leaves and rock sugar on the table, which are free to take. There are also chili and salt for dipping lamb, and garlic and vinegar, which are essential for eating noodles. The usual way is to have a bite of noodles and then a bite of raw garlic, quite refreshing. Our next stop was the viewpoint where the Yellow River meets the Tao River. The amazing thing about this view is the surging Tao River, filled with yellow sand, and the rippling Yellow River flow out from both sides of the mountain and converge at the top. The clear and distinct rivers gradually merge and flow forward. It's quite a sight to see. From the viewpoint to our destination for the night, Hezuo City, it's about 96 miles. Notably, about 10% of the journey involves passing through tunnels, 19 tunnels in total, spanning 10 miles, which made it easier for us to travel through the region. For dinner, we had beef noodle soup. In this region, you can choose noodle thickness. After paying, you can walk up to the counter showing your receipt to the staff and tell them your preferred thickness. You can also tell them how much chili you want. By default, they will add chili. Then wait at the counter where you can see the chefs pulling and cooking the noodles in the back. Interestingly, you only see one pot cooking noodles of different thickness together without them getting mixed up. Pretty impressive. My husband ordered thickness of 9叶 and I ordered thickness of 2系. Early in the morning, we visited the Andu Hezuo Milarepa Buddha Pavilion. The pavilion was made to commemorate Milarepa, the founder of one of the Tibetan Buddhist 5 sects. The architecture has 9 floors. Each floor contains a separate temple dedicated to a spiritual leader of the past or present. There are tankas and Buddha statues. Visitors are allowed. You can also see people circumambulating the building in a clockwise direction, which is a traditional way to worship. After visiting the pavilion, we had lunch at a Tibetan restaurant. We ordered Tibetan-style hot pot and beef covered with a pancake. The hot pot was charcoal cooked and included yak meat, tofu, and mushrooms. The broth was very savory, with a hint of chili but not spicy at all. The beef was stir-fried and covered with a thin pancake, resembling a blanket. In the afternoon, we set out for Gannan, retracing the route taken by American and Austrian botanist and explorer Joseph Rock when he passed through Gannan in 1925. His journal expressed his amazement and love for the scenery. We climbed to the highest point at an altitude of 13,800 feet. Part of the road was unpaved, kicking up dust as we drove. After arriving in Gannan, we had Sichuan cuisine for dinner. Gannan is close to Sichuan, so besides Tibetan restaurant, there are also Sichuan restaurants. We spent the morning exploring the Gannan scenic area, specifically Runwu Gou. The trail features canyons, streams, and waterfalls. The narrowest part of the canyon is about 6 to 10 feet wide. Walking through it, you might get splashed by the waterfall, which adds to the fun. As we continued, the terrain opened up, allowing us to play by the stream. We spent a total of 2 hours there, although you can hike further up to the mountain, but we chose to turn back. For lunch, we stopped in Diebu County and had hot pot. Hot pot is a significant part of Chinese culinary culture. You get a pot of broth and prepare some raw ingredients to cook at the table. Each person can customize their dipping sauce, so the cooked food has the flavor of the broth and the sauce. It's delicious. Different regions have their own unique hot pot flavors, and this time we had the Sichuan cuisine, which is quite spicy. We could dedicate a whole episode to the different regional hot pots. In the afternoon, we drove along a scenic route known as the Little Duku Road. Duku Road is a famous route in Xinjiang, known for its stunning views. The route we're taking in Gannan has same marvelous views, that's why people are paying tribute calling it Little Duku. It's challenging to navigate, especially when passing other cars, but despite the difficulties, many travelers come here because of the diverse landscape packed into just 62 miles. The route features canyons, unique mountains, and grazing herds, making for an enjoyable ride. Here comes a cattle that is calm and composed.
Hey man.
And the sheep that for some unknown reason insist on staying in the ditch. At one point, we stopped to charge the car at a deer park. We arrived at the Langmu Si area in the evening. Langmu Si is our destination for tomorrow's sightseeing. That night, we had Yunnan cuisine at a restaurant owned by a lady from Dali. The food was so delicious that I came back for lunch the next day. We ordered Dali-style stir-fried pork with pickled cabbage. We also had dry fried potatoes, which were somewhat similar to chips, and a small pot of rice noodles cooked with minced pork and spicy bean paste, then mixed with pickled cabbage and rice noodles. It was slightly spicy but mainly savory. On the fourth day, we visited Langmu Si. We hired a guide at the entrance who led us through 3 temples in Langmu Si. The first was the scripture hall, where the main space was lined with rows of cushions used for chanting, and there were 1,000 images of Shakyamuni and 1,000 small Buddha statues on the sides. The guide also introduced us to some cultural backgrounds, such as the 4 colors used in the buildings. Langmu Si also has the only sky burial platform open to the public. Sky burial is a common funeral practice in Tibetan region, where the deceased body is left to be consumed by vultures. The sky burial platform is where this ritual is carried out. If you arrive at 6 a.m. and there's a sky burial that day, visitors can quietly observe the ceremony. For lunch, we returned to my new favorite restaurant, the Yunnan restaurant from last night. We had a free-range chicken hot pot, which was already the third hot pot of this trip. In the afternoon, we drove to Sanke Grasslands, where we encountered some shepherds herding sheep along the way. We stayed at a camping park for the night. The tents were quite sturdy, each with its own bathroom offering a more comfortable camping experience. We opted for a simple dinner, ordered some home-style dishes, stir-fried flat noodles, tomato and egg soup, and shredded potatoes. In the morning, we had a breakfast set at the camping site. Then we drove to Lesfm Monastery, the largest monastery in Gannan and the world-renowned center for Tibetan studies. At its peak, over 3,000 monks studied here. While visiting the temple, we came across monks during their midday prayers. In the main prayer hall, the monks sat on cushions chanting. The monks were very friendly. After their prayers, they collected bags of something and we were curious. So we asked. It turned out to be black tea. At Lesfm Monastery, visitors can observe the daily lives of monks studying at the highest institution of Tibetan Buddhism without disturbing them. We also see monks, those 师傅, in nearby restaurant and cafe. For lunch, we ate at a nearby Nepalese restaurant having curry beef. The beef was yak meat from the local area. In the afternoon, we concluded our trip in Gannan and drove to Lanzhou, covering 143 miles. After arriving in Lanzhou, we went to a famous local barbecue restaurant. The menu had no more than 10 items, with the most popular being grilled lamb. There was also some locals dining here, and it felt like a good spot for quick meat. No one can leave Lanzhou without eating a bowl of beef noodles. We came to Moyangou in the morning to have another bowl. Later, we visited the Gansu Provincial Museum. We saw the famous bronze galloping horse, showcasing the Han Dynasty artisans' understanding of mechanics and their exquisite craftsmanship from 2,000 years ago. After leaving the museum, we went to Zhongshanqiao, built by the Germans 120 years ago. After crossing the bridge, we walked a short distance to the sheepskin raft dock. Sheepskin rafts are a traditional watercraft made from inflated sheepskins. They have a long history and were once a crucial transportation tool on the Yellow River. Speaking of the Yellow River, it's a vital river in China. Because it flows through the lowest plateau, it carries silt and sediment downstream, giving its yellow color. The raft we took had 12 sheepskins and could carry up to 6 people, including the boatman. That concluded our trip. I wish I had more time to stay on the grasslands or explore Lanzhou, but I will have to save it for the next time. And now here are some tips for traveling to Gannan. The best time to visit is from May to August. If you go later, you might encounter snow. We went at the end of August and there was significant temperature difference between day and night. You will need a light down jacket for the mornings and evenings, but a t-shirt is enough for midday. Due to the high altitude, you might experience altitude sickness. It's a good idea to bring some oxygen cans or buy them along the way. They cost about 15 RMB and provides 15 to 20 minutes of oxygen. It's also crucial to know where you can get oxygen near your accommodations. You can also buy a pulse oximeter. If you're driving an SUV or an off-road vehicle is recommended. During peak season, plan your charging stops in advance to avoid being stuck on road. Most of the trip was on national roads with a portion on highway. National roads are generally free, while highways usually have tolls. And the total cost of this trip is as follows. So, welcome and until next time. See ya.